Hey everybody, it's Kent. Today I'm going to show you all the books that I have in this display case here. I think there's 36 books, but there's some duplicates and some sets, so there's not quite 36 titles. So I'm going to pull these out and show you a little bit more detail of all of them. So let's head on over here. Get you set up like that. All right, I got them all moved over here to show you a little bit better. I have 3 copies of this one. I think they're all about the same. The Story of Lucky Strike by Roy C. Flanagan. That's Lucky Strike, the tobacco company. So there's all kinds of illustrations about them bringing in tobacco and drying it, processing it. The tobacco arrives at the redrying plant. The toasting tobacco throughout the process. The ultraviolet ray. Testing laboratories. Millions of cigarettes. Alert supervision. So again, just a cool 20 to a package. Just a cool little history of Lucky Strike cigarettes, the company. Up next, we got a 2-volume set. The Conquest of Canada in 2 volumes, published in 1864. Pretty great condition. I guess this one doesn't have any illustrations. The horrible law decreeing the punishment of death against the Quakers had only been carried by a majority of 13 in the 12 to the 12 in the colonial court of deputies, and after a strong opposition, but to the eternal grace of the local government, its atrocious provisions were carried into effect, and 4 of the unhappy fanatics were judicially murdered. Yikes. Interesting early set of books about Canada. Ooh, that one's nice. Life of North American Insects. Got the beetle there on the spine. Pretty little moth on the front cover. Hopefully it's a moth. I don't think it's a butterfly, but I honestly have no idea what the difference between a butterfly and a moth is. The Life of North American Insects by B. Yeager. Illustrated, published in 1859. See if I can show you some of the illustrations. There we go. We got the four-horned sphinx and the hummingbird sphinx. We got the horned Coreodalis. I have no idea how you say that. I suppose I shouldn't even try to pronounce some of these insect names. We got the fox-like again, I have no idea how to say that. There we go. We got the gilded dandy. That one's easy enough to say. Never heard of a gilded dandy before. We got a caterpillar. Got one of those moths. Again, we have a caterpillar and a cocoon. We got the northern ladybird. We got the green caterpillar hunter and the red spotted caterpillar hunter. Pretty cool, and again, a nice little binding on that book. Up next, we have Women of Christianity. Check out the condition on that one. Tip-top condition. Women of Christianity, exemplary for acts of piety and charity, by Julia Kavanaugh, published in 1866. was hoping the contents page would just have a list of the women, but hasn't broken down by era. Lady Hastings slowly recovered. Her life seemed to be saved when a sudden relapse, to which no surgeon's skill could now devise a remedy, brought her once more within the prospect of death. Her resignation did not forsake her, although her sufferings were so exquisite that she could not even turn in bed. She seldomly concealed them in order not to afflict her faithful servants. Lady Hastings, one of the women of Christianity. Up next, we have a nice copy of Sitting Bull and the Indian War. This one's halfway common, but again, really nice condition on that one. Who do we got? We have U.S. Deputy Bartlett down there. We have Major General Miles. Got Sitting Bull himself. We have the Ghost Dance. The Life of Sitting Bull and the History of the Indian War of 1890 to 91 by W. Fletcher Johnson, illustrated. And this one does have a ton of illustrations. Many of the different chiefs and some of the army soldiers. What do we have? Officers in the field at Fort Keogh. I want to show you some of the Indian chiefs. There we got Buffalo Bill. There we got White Thunder. White Eagle. We have Standing Bear. Shoot, I want to look through the illustrations quick, and there's one Indian chief that had a very interesting name. Standing Bear, White Ghost, Big Medicine Man, Chief John Grass. No. Let's see if I can find it for you quick. I don't see it. I thought there was a Indian chief with a very interesting name, but I can't find it right now. So, moving on. Bring in the Gospel in Hogan and Pueblo. This one, I think, is pretty rare, by Reverend J. Dolphin. Memorial edition, published in 1921. We got a portrait of a Navajo man on the front for the frontispiece. Introduction. I gladly write a word of introduction to this book of Reverend John Dolphin. Having been associated with him during several years of service on our mission board, his companion on several trips, I knew that he was well posted on the subject of missions, particularly on the work among the Indians of the southwest of our land, and I feel sure that those who peruse this book will soon agree with me on this matter. Let's see. Chapter 4, the Navajos. Chapter 5, Rehoboth, New Mexico. Looks like a lot of stuff on New Mexico. Got medical missions, educational missions, industrial missions, the Navajo religion, the Zunis, non-reservation schools. Let's see if there's any. Yep, looks like it's illustrated. Visitors to the mission. The Zuni Bridge. Again, a pretty cool book on Indian religion and missions. And I think this one's pretty rare. Copy of 1984, George Orwell. They had done it. They had done it at last. The room they were standing in was long-shaped and softly lit. The television was dimmed to a low murmur. The richness of the dark blue carpet gave one impression of treading on velvet. At the far end of the room, O'Brien was sitting at a table under the green-shaded lamp with a mass of papers on either side of him. He had not bothered to look up when the servant showed Julia and Winston in. Again, 1984, George Orwell. Hemingway, Old Man and the Sea. Kind of a beat-up dust jacket on that one. Published in 1952. Classic Hemingway. War of 1812. History of the War of 1812 between Great Britain and the US of A by John Hannay. Published in 1901. Oh, there are some maps in this one. The Affair at La Calle Mill, March 30th, 1814. Battle of Lundy's Lane. Again, pretty nice book on War of 1812. All right, shelf number 2. We got some Bibles. Nice small little Bible. Leather, really nice condition. Published in 1868. Not too much to say about this. Everyone knows the Bible. Another Bible here. This one's a little bigger. Got the previous owner's name on the front, the Longley. Not sure if there was any other information about him or her. The Holy Bible, again, 1868. See if there's any family history pages. Yep, there are family history pages. That kind of helps. Let's see. William Longley married Mary A. Hammond in September 18th, 1860. And then Anna Longley married Edward Howard York, September 26, 1888. Edward Howard York Jr. married Elizabeth Colgate Macaulay in April 29th, 1916. It's always cool when you got the whole family history. You got the births. Edward Howard York III was born in 1917. Elizabeth York was born in 1920. John Weldon York was born in 1924. We got the original births. William Longley was born in 1838, and then he married Mary, so that's pretty cool. Mary was born in 1838 as well. Let's see. William was born September 10th, 1838. Mary was born September 14th, 1838. So that's pretty cool. They were born within 4 days of each other. Let's see. He was born on the 10th. She was born on the 14th. And then they got married on the 18th. Of course, 1860. So they were both 22 years old when they got married. Or 23. Have to think about that one. And then you got the deaths. William died in 1884. Mary died in 1908. Wow, she really outlasted him. Theodore died in 1912. Robert died in 1901. Pretty cool when they have the family history associated with who owned the Bible. Have another really nice Bible. Nice lighter leather on that one. 1846. Again, really nice condition. Kind of a neat design on that one. We have a 2-volume set of African Game Trails by Teddy Roosevelt. Assume these are from the 1920s, 1922. Got the rhino there. Mr. Roosevelt and one of his lions. Pretty nice. We have the Blue Book for Wisconsin, 1881. Really nice condition. Usually you find these and they're pretty banged up. And this one does have a map somewhere. There we go. There's the map. Again, cool to have a 1881 map of Wisconsin. Let's see what we can find. Let's see. Here, I'm going to lay this out for a second. Show y'all a little bit of geography. So I grew up in Granton, which would have been kind of between Lynn and Pleasant Ridge and Maple Works, right there. And then I went to college in River Falls, which... Where's River Falls? Somewhere. There's Hudson. Where's River Falls? Oh, there it is. Okay, there's River Falls. And then I moved back to Nilsville. I lived in Nilsville for 10 years. And now I am in Marshfield. So Clark County to St. Croix County to now Wood County. Yep, Marshfield right there. So yeah, pretty cool. Map from 1881. And again, really nice condition. Up next, we have Night Scenes in the Bible. I think I just sold a copy of this on eBay a couple weeks ago. This one's a smidge nicer. Again, if any of you are in Wisconsin, it's definitely worth a trip to my bookstore. I don't have any of these online right now. Exclusive for my local customers. Night Scenes in the Bible by Reverend Daniel March, published in 1870. The Night of Agony. Jesus' Night on the Mountain. The Night of Ruthless Toil. Again, I really like this binding. What does it say? God spake to Israel in visions of the night. Spake? Is that the correct terminology? God spake to Israel? I do not know. But I really like the angels and the stars. Let's see what it says down here. Watchman, what of the night? What of the night? And then the back has the same pretty designs. Geez, how many stars are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 stars times 4. Plus the angels each got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lots of stars. All right, next we have India and its inhabitants. Again, pretty nice condition on that one. India and its inhabitants by Caleb Wright. Illustrated, published in 1856. See if we have some interesting illustrations. A thug disguised as a merchant. Ooh, there's some. We got Shiva, Mahamaya, a temple of Shiva, specimens of Hindu architecture, Buddha, looks like some Hindu gods. looks like this one does have tons and tons of illustrations. Pretty cool, pretty cool. The Natural History of Crystals. The Natural History of Crystals by A.E.H. Tutton with 166 illustrations, 1924. Ooh, and it even has some handwritten notes. Ooh, this definitely has the very scientific work of crystals. Very technical. Gotta be a smart one to understand that stuff. We have a couple volumes of myths and legends. We have the British race and Babylonian and Assyrian. Let's see, are these both by Spence? Yep. Oh, no, that one's not. All right, Myths and Legends of Babylonia and Assyria by Lewis Spence. This one has tons and tons and tons of illustrations. Oops. I think about half of them are in color and then half of them are black and white. See if I can find another color one. The 7 Tablets of Creation. Very cool. And then this one, Myths and Legends of the British Race by M.L. or M.I. Ebert. Wait, why is this? That was weird. Okay. That's strange. Some of these pages are upside down. But then they go back to normal. Very strange. Strange printing error on that one. Horn kills the saccharine leader. Took his head clear off. What the heck is going on? That some of this book is bound upside down. Didn't even notice that. Alright, and then the books on the bottom shelf coming up next. The Letters of Mark by Rudyard Kipling. I assume this has something to do with India. Kipling, I think, did some traveling over there. Published in 1899. Let's see, The Letters of Mark. Except for those who, under expulsion of Sikh certificate, are flying Bombay words, it is good for every man to see some little things of the great Indian Empire and the strange folk who move about it. It is good to escape for a time from the house of Rimmon, be it office or kutchery, to go abroad under no more exacting master than personal inclination, with no more definitive plan of travel than the horse escaped from pasture, free upon the countryside. Let's see if there's any other illustrations in that one. Nope, I do not see any, so none to show you. All right, next we have the annual register for 1778. It's been rebound, nice modern binding on that one. This is the first edition, published in 1779. And I would assume there's a bunch of Revolutionary War contents in this one. Let's see, Chapter 5, Subscription for American Prisoners, State and Public Affairs, Scheme for Raising a Body of Troops to Supply, The Loss of Saratoga, let's see, Chapter 10, State of the Hostile Armies in Philadelphia and its neighborhoods during the winter, Hard Condition of the Brave Army under the Convention of Saratoga, Suspension of the treaty by the Congress until a ratification is obtained from the Court of Great Britain, Predatory Expedition from Philadelphia and Rhode Island, Draft of the Conciliatory Bills published in America, Effects produced by it on both sides, Conduct and Resolutions of the Congress, etc., etc., etc. George Washington crosses the Delaware. Okay, that's pretty cool. Again, lots of cool Revolutionary War contents in that one. Nice modern binding on it so you can read it. The Gilded Age by Mark Twain. Not a first edition. This one was published in 1883. Not a first edition, but pretty darn nice condition. And this one is highly illustrated. It's a classic. Honestly, I have no idea what it's about. Never read it. Suppose I probably should at some point. Maybe next week. All right, next we have Wagner's Chemical Technology. A Handbook of Chemical Technology by Rudolf Wagner, translated by William Crookes, published in 1877. See what kind of contents this one has. Crude materials and products of chemical industry. We got carbonate of potassium, nitric acid, common salts, manufacture of soda, glass manufacturer, bleaching powder, porcelain, all kinds of porcelain, gypsum, hemp, paper making, beetroot sugar, grape sugar, wine making, beer brewing. Interesting. Only $50 if you're local and come by it. Bread making, distillation of vinous mash, tobacco, essential oils, woolen industry, silk tanning, leather tanning, glue boiling, animal charcoal, milk, meat, dyeing and printing, bleaching, yellow dyes, red pigments, blue dyes, paraffin and solar on petroleum oils, fuel, wood, peat, coal, coke, heating. Whew. It's getting a workout reading all this. And again, highly illustrated with all kinds of chemistry apparatus. Tanning. The operation by which skin of various animals, more especially those of larger mammalia, are converted into leather is called tanning. By leather, we understand a substance, tough, flexible, not harsh, further distinguished by resisting putrefaction and by not yielding any glue, blah, 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 blah. I don't know, I took a couple semesters of organic chemistry in college and I don't know, somehow got some B's, but I didn't understand a darn thing. I'm not smart enough for this. A more recent method by which all the iodine present present in the mother liquid obtained consists in distilling the liquor of chlorine of iron. Oops, help if I got her on camera. As iodine is only very slightly soluble in water, 1 part of iodine required 5,524 parts of water at 10 degrees to 12 degrees for a solution. That is 1 grain of iodine to 12 ounces of water. It is carried over with the steam and deposited at the bottom of the receiver in the form of black powder. When iodine is prepared by the aid of chlorine, the quantity of gas should be exactly sufficient to decompose the iodine of magnesium. For the quality of chlorine to be too small, no iodine is separated, and if it's too large, chloride of iodine is formed, and free bromine, both of which become volatile, escape. Got that? Learn something every day. Gosh, 5,524 parts water to 1 part chlorine. Can you believe it? No idea what that means. Next, we have messages and proclamations of Wisconsin war governors. Let's see what that one's about. World War I, World War II, Civil War. Oh, Civil War messages and proclamations of Wisconsin war governors, edited by Reuben Gold Thwaites, published in 1912. There you have Governor Alexander W. Randall taken during the war. And again, it looks like all of the messages from governors of Wisconsin during the Civil War. So from 1858 to 1860. Oh, and during Reconstruction as well, looks like. Governor Lucius Fairchild, 1866 to 1872. Let's see what they had to say. A letter accompanying the governor's message. Dear Sir, your letter on the 10th inst is received, in which you wish me to give you a full account of the matter of covering the body of the lamented Governor Harvey. I will comply with your wishes, giving all such details as I judge shall be interesting to his friends. As the steamer Lady Pike was passing Britt's Landing on the left bank of the Tennessee River, a few miles below Savannah, Wednesday, April 30th, we were hailed by Mr. Britt and were informed that the body of Governor Harvey had been found and was interred about 2 miles below. Mr. Britt was taken on board and directed us to the spot. The particulars attending the finding and the burial of the body and subsequent action in regard it are as follows. On the Sunday previous, April 12th, some children were playing on the bank of the river, discovered the body floating at the shore, and induced a man near it to pull it out. The children and the man cut out all the pockets of his clothes and distributed the contents among themselves, the man retaining the watch, which he gave to a woman in the neighborhood. The body was then put back in the river. Where was I? I lost my spot, so I'm just going to leave the story there. Pretty cool. Stalag, Wisconsin, inside World War II prisoner of war camps by Betty Cowley. Stalag, Wisconsin, inside World War II prisoner of war camps by Betty Cowley. Let's see, I'll show you a list of the different camps in Wisconsin. Pretty interesting part of local history that most people probably don't know about. All right, next we have the brain and its physiology. This one's from 1846. It's been rebound. It's from the John Cryer Library. I've had a ton of the books from his library. I believe in Chicago. That's where the library was. The brain and its physiology, a critical disquisition on the methods of determining the relationship subsisting between the structure and functioning of the encephalanon. No idea how you say that. By Daniel Noble, published in 1846. Oh, there we go. Illustrated. 1846 book on the brain, and it's illustrated. What more could you ask for? See what they have to say about the brain. Now, in the first place, it should be remembered that excepting in animals of the same kind, relative position and outward form constitute no such guides of identification of analogous structures. In different species, among those functions are essentially similar, will be situated variously, and in many cases they present very opposite forms. Interesting. Well, that's an interesting illustration on the front of that one. We have Burns' poetical works. The complete poetical works of Robert Burns, published in 1849. Pretty little frontispiece. This one is illustrated. Let's see what that says. I'll set me down and sing and spin while laughing descends the simmer sun. Blessed we content and milk and meal. Oh, leads me on my spinning wheel. Tiny little print. All right, Messages of the Stars. Nice little book on astrology. Message of the Stars by Max Heindel and Augustus Voss Heindel. Published copyright 1927. Thought this one had some illustrations of horoscopes, but I guess not. For instance, the moon comes to a square of Mars, and it will bring us an opportunity to lose our temper and get into trouble. Thereby, then, when the trouble is over and we sit down to reflect on the occurrence, we will most likely say to ourselves, well, what fools we were to allow a little thing that could like that to play havoc on our happiness. On the other hand, if an astrological student uses his knowledge the proper manner, then he should know that the effect of the moon squares Mars will be. He should resolve beforehand to be calm and say, here's my opportunity for me to rule my stars. Rambles in Autograph Land. Rambles in Autograph Land by Adrian H. Jolene, published in 1913. Ooh, Benedict Arnold. Looks like you got some writing by Samuel Johnson. Thomas Gray. Got the writing of Oliver Wendell Holmes. see if I can find one more example. There we go. Got writing by Edmund Burke. Again, pretty cool. Book on handwriting. Next one, Aviation Medicine in its Preventive Aspects. Cool book, I assume World War II. Aviation Medicine in all its preventative aspects, an historical survey by John H. Fulton, 1948. Yep, right after World War II. What do we got? Bubbles seen in the veins of rabbits after exposure to a simulated altitude of 38,000 feet. Ooh, animal testing. Hope that's not too controversial. Chart showing the flight of a Liberator bomber in which low pressure chamber pre-selection tests were validated and in which the Benz bag was used to tide a susceptible subject over an attack of the Benz. Interesting chart. Ooh, what's going on here? Motion picture analysis illustrated effects of explosive decompression in a human subject. Pretty cool book on aviation medicine. The Platypus. This is the only book on the platypus I've ever seen, I think. It might be the only one, I don't know. The platypus, its discovery, zoological position, form and characteristics, habits, life history, etc. by Harry Burrell with 35 plates, published in 1927. 35 plates of the platypus. Oh, we got a platypus nest. There's the face of a platypus. Oh, baby platypus. I don't know what a baby platypus is called. I would assume there's a special name for it. All right, last one. Special report on the diseases of cattle and cattle feeding, 1892, by the USDA. Special report on the diseases of cattle and cattle feeding, prepared under the direction of Dr. D.E. Salmon, 1892. Pretty common one, but this one's pretty nice. Normal position of the calf in utero. Oh no. The upper or dorsal surface of the lungs of the ox. Okay. Ox lungs. What do we got here? We got tuberculosis of the liver. All right, well, I won't show you any more of the gory illustrations, but thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed another video.